Hi, it's Frank Versace with Versace Real Estate, and today we're going to take a look at what happened in the Winnipeg real estate market for July 2018. Stick around. All right, let's have some fun and jump into the numbers. According to the Winnipeg Realtors Association, here's what happened in July for 2018. So again, we're going to start off with the big, overwhelming headlines that you're going to see everywhere plastered on social media and the news. And that is, unfortunately, again, the market is down by about 4%. Very marginal change, not a big deal compared to previous years. If you sort of look at the stats and the trends, we're kind of on par there overall with previous years as far as volume and dollar volume. But unit sales is what we're looking at here. So we're talking about the number of properties that have sold. And so we're looking at here, we've got for this July, it was 1,376 units, 1,376 properties sold, versus last July 2017 was 1,438 units sold, and that brings us our down 4% here for the month of July. Of course, 1 month does not make a market, so let's take a look at what's going on for the entire year. So we'll look at the year-to-date numbers, kind of gives us a little bit more identifying what's going on in the broader market for the full spectrum from January 2018 until the end of July 2018. And unfortunately there as well, we're down by about 7%. This has been kind of a common trend. We've been bouncing around that sort of 7-8% mark over the past market updates. So again, we're sticking true to our numbers, down about 7%. And so year to date, we have sold 7,944 units. We're talking about units, not price, not value, units sold. Versus last year at this time was 8,508 units sold. So again, that puts us at our down number of 7%. Let's take a look at the actual number of homes, houses versus condos. So single family detached houses versus condos. So here we have 1,006 houses that were sold in July this year. Last year there was 1,041 houses sold, single family detached. So in the house column, that puts us down about 3%, which is about on par for the entire market. Where we're seeing a bigger change is in the condo market. So condos in July, we sold 176 condo units. Now, if you look at July 2017, there was actually 207 condo units sold. So we're seeing a bit more of a drop there of about 15% decline in the number, the units sold for condos. So that's a little bit telling what's happening as far as, you know, these numbers here when we start to dive in terms of property type. Now let's talk the language of real estate, which everybody wants to know is DOM, days on market. Frank, how long has this property been sold? I'm looking to get a good deal. I want to have long time on market. If you're a seller, you're thinking, how quickly can I get my property sold? I don't want to be on the market for a long time. So for houses, for the month of July, we're looking at about 30 days on market to get a home sold, a house sold in July, whereas for condos, taking a little bit longer at 45 days. So we're seeing that stretch. That's where the effect here is. We're seeing less condo sales and taking a longer time to get those condos sold. And so again, for a buyer, that's good news. Longer time on market means you're gonna get a better deal. For sellers, of course, you want it sold as fast as possible. And typically you don't want the clock to run longer than it needs to, because as soon as buyers start seeing long time on market, their attention wanes and you kind of get pushed to the wayside. And they're going to come in fighting harder on price. So if you're a seller, you want to watch that days on market and adjust your price if you need to, so that you don't run the clock longer than you need. Now, what I thought we'd do in this video is we take a nice little walk down memory lane, and I wanted to just show you, rather than focus on some of the current news and, you know, the down numbers and that kind of thing, in Winnipeg, we're doing well. Prices are still very, very affordable. Some of the markets have moved up. If you've purchased in the past, depending on how long you bought, you're actually in very good shoes. So let's take a little walk through a few areas in Winnipeg and what's going on with pricing over the last number of years. So in this column here, I've got the area, then I've got the price from 2011, I've got the price from 2018, and I've got the percentage change column. So let's take a look at this here. In River Heights, in 2011, your average price was $341,000. Now in 2018, just 7 years later, we're at $431,000, which puts us at an increase of 21%. So we've got a 21% rise in prices over the last 7 years in the market of River Heights. What about for Island Lakes and Royalwood? Well, if we go back to 2011, for Island Lakes and Royalwood, average price would have been $405,000. Right now we're trending at around $447,000 for both of those two areas. And so average increase in the last 7 years, we're looking at about a 9% increase. So if you bought 7 years ago, you're in good shoes. What about for St. James here? Well, 7 years ago, average price in St. James was $192,000. Very, very affordable. Now today we're trending at about $249,000, which puts it at about a 23% increase over that period. Again, a very, very healthy increase if you bought in 2011 or earlier. What about what's happening in the Maples? Well, the Maples here in 2011, $273,000, trending this year at $304,000. That puts it at about a 10% bump in price in the Maples. And our biggest gain comes in the market of Tuxedo, where in 2011, average prices in Tuxedo were $583,000, whereas in 2018, we're looking at average price of $824 to buy into Tuxedo. That puts it at a nice gain of 29%. So if you're a Tuxedo resident that purchased in 2011, you're doing very, very well in your home equity at the moment. What about for highest price and lowest price? A lot of people like to see the diversity in the Winnipeg real estate market. So right now, highest price sold in the month of July 2018 was $1.6 million. And when we look at the lowest price sold for single family detached home, $38,000. Huge disparity in pricing. Of course, we've got all sorts of properties in between, and just gives you an idea of what's available. Nice luxury properties and very, very affordable entry-level properties, probably fixer-uppers most likely. Now here's the question that buyers and sellers both want to know. What are the percentage of properties that are selling above list price, at their list price, and below their list price? Now sellers want to know this because if you can get over list price and there's a lot of properties selling over market price, then that's good news for sellers. Same thing at price. Really, I mean, sellers are happy usually if they can get their at or above list price. Buyers are happy if they can get below list price. So right now in the month of July, there were 18% of the properties that were listed that actually sold for more than what they were asking. What about at list price? It was about 8% of the properties got right at their number. So they put their house on the market at X, they got X, 8% of the time. What about below? Now buyers are going to really like to see this. Sellers, you can close your eyes for a little bit right now. Buyers, 74% of the time, you're going to get a better deal. You're going to get a price less than what the seller is asking. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a drastic drop under list. It just means that they're not getting their list price. So when you're going in and you're negotiating as a buyer, you know that 74% of the time, you're going to be able to get the property for under list. 8% of the time you're paying at, and then about 18% of the time you're paying above list price. Now here's the thing, folks. As a buyer, as a seller, you've got to realize that any property that is priced correctly, marketed correctly, has a strong realtor negotiating on the seller's behalf, is going to attract a lot of buyers, a lot of demand, and there's still a good opportunity to get at or above list price. So as a seller, you want to make sure you show your property just perfect, you price it just right, got a great negotiating realtor on your behalf, and the marketing is just bang on, fantastic pictures. That's going to draw in the buyer demand. If it doesn't, in this market here, it generally means that your property is probably overpriced. You need to make an adjustment so that you continue to draw those eyeballs into your home, get new buyers into your property, and get the property sold. We really don't want to play games with the market here. 74% selling below. You want to take advantage of doing everything properly right out of the gate. So that's the market update for this month. I hope that's been helpful for you. If you have any questions, or you or a friend or family members looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, we hope that you consider Versace Real Estate. We would love to help you, love to be of service, and enjoy this video. Make it a great day and stay positive.